Hi everybody, this is Leanne Alexander with Pentecostal Publishing House. Each month we come to you with these teacher training videos and try to provide a strategy, a tip to help you in your classroom. Recently I was able to travel to Australia, minister in the country there, visit several churches, talk to teachers there. And as I was there, I met a couple who have a very unique outreach ministry for teaching children and reaching the children. When I heard their story, I just had to interview them and capture what they're doing because I think it could be a powerful ministry model for us in other parts of the world. So wherever you're watching this, I think there are some ideas here you could use potentially in your community. So they had an incredible story. They're very passionate about what they do. And our conversation went so long. What we want to do is we want to share their story in a series of videos. So what you're about to see is their story, and I hope it can be a blessing to you in your church and in your community. Hi everybody, this is Leanne Alexander coming to you with another training video. This month's video, I'm in Australia and I'm here with some new friends, Esther and Josh. Had a lovely time spending a couple of days with them and just ministering in their church and getting to know them. And they're doing something really incredible. And when they told me what they were up to, I said, I'm sorry, here I am imposing on their evening, but I wanted to capture their story. This would be an incredible idea for us to try in the States. So I want them to tell us what they're up to because I think it is really touching lives in a special way. So tell us your story of what you're up to.
Okay, so we run a Sunday school outreach from our church. It's located a few suburbs away and it's based in a government housing estate. So I believe that's the equivalent of the projects in the States. So it's families are struggling financially. There's a lot of crime, domestic violence and things like that. And the children are often neglected and struggling. So we have some contacts in that community and we've started a Sunday school outreach on a Sunday morning. So it runs parallel to our Sunday morning service at church. But I might let Josh explain how that all started.
In what sense? In terms of how Bundy started?
Yeah.
All right. So Bundy started by one of our members of our church grew up in that neighborhood, and he had a real heart for. And still does have a real heart for the people in that community.
Sure.
So while we were looking for places to go to minister to people and reach out to people surrounding our current church, we set our eyes on that particular neighborhood and decided to see how we could target that neighborhood and connect with them. So we started out by when a friend of ours came for a visit, he was evangelizing. He wanted to go out and do some stuff, so we said, well, we'll take you into this neighborhood, and we simply just went around and knocked on doors and just took up prayer requests. And one of the houses we came to was a young man, and he invited us in, and he was just so amazed that we were there because he was really going through a really hard time. So we went through all those things that were going on in our life, in his life, and we prayed for him right then and there, and we started hooking up with him for doing Bible studies, and we just took off from there. We made several contacts, and we were able to connect with people and just build a nice install. What didn't happen overnight?
Sure.
Took many months.
So then how did you get set up with a system for the children? Like where did you start ministering to the children?
Well, it first started with building rapport with the families that the guys had contacted for prayer requests. Right. They also, in addition to what Josh was saying, they also would buy some pizzas, 5 or 6 pizzas, knock on doors and just offer them a pizza. And in that community, they're very open to receiving whatever you can offer them. So they're not afraid to say no.
Right.
So that was a real easy way of reaching out. And so in doing that, they established rapport with the children and just slowly over time say, you want to come to Sunday school? And the kids are always keen for an excursion. Sure. So they would come and we would just pick them up in just cars. Church folks would be available to pick them up. And of course we would do the appropriate, in Australia we call it a working with children check. So people who had been approved and cleared to work with children. So we did that, and we just brought them into Sunday school, got permission slips from the parents, of course, and brought them in. So at one point in our small church that seats, 80 people, 100 people at a pinch,
Sure.
we were bringing in maybe 20 to 30 children. No, that's an exaggeration.
No?
Maybe 20 children.
Would easily
Yeah, it's
I'm
hard
pretty
to
sure
remember.
sometimes it would be 20, 25.
Yeah, so it's a lot of children. So
Sure.
we completely filled our 2 Sunday school rooms.
Yes.
So then we reached out to a local Girl Scouts hall. In Australia we call it Girl Guides. So we were hiring that hall on a Sunday morning, and we were busing 3 bus loads, 12-seater bus loads of children for every Sunday morning service, and then busing them all home again. It just got too much, but they were so keen.
Yeah.
So we found in the community, the children told us about an organisation that had a little hall set up, and from that hall they run various community services. So we contacted them. The children had already told this organisation about the church,
Yes.
so they were very open to hosting our Sunday school on a Sunday morning. They didn't charge us, and to this day that's still where we are.
Wow, that's great.
So we have access to that. There's a property, a fenced in property, a room with a kitchen and bathrooms and all of that. So that's where we have our Sunday morning Sunday school.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay, so now what's the format? When you get everybody in there, what all do you do?
Well, we focus on a children's church format. So we have ages 4 to 12.
Yeah.
And we have a team of teachers. There's usually at least 5 of us, and we have a roster that, you know, someone does a story, an object lesson, prayer time, memory verse, worship and songs, prayer activities and things like that. So we just have, you know, your average Sunday morning children's church,
Right.
but in that community. We also offer them breakfast because many of them don't eat or have food to eat at home. So we just have toast with jam or jelly and Vegemite, and water to drink. So we just provide that first. We play games with them. We have some card games, Jenga, just little games that we can play. There's also a selection of books at this hall. So we just have that time to relax, build their friendship, and just have fun.
Yeah.
Focus on having fun, and then we slowly transition into the lesson, and then we pack up at the end. And the whole process takes from say 9 o'clock in the morning till about 12:30, 1 o'clock. So it's a good period of time, and we're never left with alone. You know, we're always having to usher them out at the end. Like they love being there. So yeah.
Oh, they feel what's
It's good.
happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's very exciting.
Yeah, I think one of the important things in this particular program that we were running is the focus on connecting with the kids personally. It's not a matter of all right, we're going to run a tight ship, we're going to start at this time, we're going to do our program and then entertain them and get them out of our area so we can go and do stuff. No, we actually take the time to befriend these kids, spend time with them. You know, that's why we play games with them before the service and afterwards as well. We get involved with their families at home. We've been involved in all sorts of events in people's lives, deaths and houses burning down and domestic violence and all sorts of stuff that happens in the community, and we're there for them in the thick and thin of it. And so they know that we care, that they know that we're consistent, and they have some place that they can come and experience God's touch.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think that's a very, very important point. I think sometimes we get so busy on trying to win souls and do things, and we try to regiment it and formalize and systematize it, that we throw the humanity out of it, and we fail to actually just take the time to slow down and just connect with someone one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's been key to this whole process.
Incredible. Wow.
Because the hardest part though with that is that there's a lot of ups and downs. You've got to be able to go with the flow with it.
Sure.
Things don't happen as quickly as you'd want them to. It'd be nice to be able to have it all happen overnight, but sometimes you've got to work with families for months and months and months before they're willing to trust you, whether they're just all sorts of stuff going on. So you've got to have that long-term mentality. I think sometimes we can be wanting to win souls that we just go, oh, this guy hasn't responded in 5 minutes and he's converted, so we're just going to move on to the next person. Some of these people, you just got to be there for them for years before they actually come through.
Wow, that's so good, so true. So if we have some folks out there who are hearing what you're doing and thinking, wow, yeah, I should really try to take my ministry beyond the walls of the church and try something like this. Maybe just kind of give us some advice on getting started and what you did.
Probably one of the techniques that that I would use if I were to recommend this to people out there would be to try what Nathan and I did was to start a random acts of kindness ministry. This is a very good way to figure out where there's a need, and so you just go to random places, random houses and whatnot in various suburbs, just and see what the response is. Go for ask for prayer requests, deliver pizzas and just random, and just go back a couple of times and see how you go. Not expecting any particular results. Going and offering, spotting a lawn that is unkept and going up to them and say, hey, we'd love to mow your lawn completely for free, no problems, and just chat. We've mowed people's lawns and prayed for them, in their circumstances just through mowing their lawn. It's been amazing what we've come across. People have just been so touched that we've done that. People have come to church over us mowing their lawn. It's simple things like that. That's one of the things. And so you do that in multiple places and see what the responses are. See how hungry people are, and then target a location that people are actually really hungry, and you've been able to establish connections. Another tip that I would give, and this is something for all those introverts out there. I'm an introvert, complete and utter introvert. Talking to people is not my core thing. So one of the things that I did to help myself get past some of those things, and this will really help those real introverts out there that'll with this sort of thing, is what I ended up doing was I realized that you have to break through that barrier and actually practice the skill of just talking to people. And so what I did was I actually put together a survey, just a survey about religion in general. Just ask them, what religion have you, what have you views on this and that. Just a very highly generic survey of an entire neighborhood. And I would literally just go into the city or go into a suburb or whatever, and just meet random people and just say, hey, do you have a few minutes? I'm not trying to bother you about anything. I've got a survey. I'm wondering if you could help me. And so I would just I'd ask them the questions. I'd fill it out. I wouldn't even try to engage them in some sort of deep theological thing to convert them. I would just go and find out what people are like and what their views are like and what they're out there. Because I found as an introvert, my fear was that I wouldn't have anything to say, or that everyone would be anti-Christian or some other thing. And just by going out there and surveying people and finding out what the lay of the land is, without any sort of precondition that I was going to witness to them or whatever, just help to break the ice in that regard. So that is a really good way of feeling out what the deal is within a particular neighborhood.
Oh, that's great. So get comfortable talking to people, figure out the right neighborhood, pinpoint your location, show acts of kindness, and then as you develop a core group of children, find a location, and then set up a children's church style service to minister to children in their neighborhood, in their community.
And minister on a level that meets their needs. Because every country and every suburb and neighborhood and all that is going to be filled with different people with different problems, and you're going to have to. I guess the idea that you need to go into these communities is to say, what problems are these people having in their lives, and how can I bring the solutions that we have to meet those needs? So you've got to survey what those problems are that people are having, and find areas where people have real needs, strong needs, and start meeting them. But that's where it starts. Once you take care of that, then you'll have those opportunities that they'll come up and they'll ask you all sorts of questions, and away you go.
Wow.